Well, hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Hey, before we jump in, real quick, a thank you to our friends over at Macy's for bringing just a smidgen of spring to the Build stage here. Their annual flower show is happening right now through April 7th. It's in New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. And this year's cosmic-inspired theme is the Journey to Paradisios. It's a really great way to spend the day. It's tons of fun. It is not to be missed. Head to Macy's.com/flower show for more info. Check it out. All right. Our next guest is known for her hilarious work as Dina on the NBC hit Superstore, now entering the second half of its 4th season, or recently renewed for a 5th, however you want to look at it. It's honestly one of the best comedies on television right now. This show is amazing. Not only that, but you can also catch her as Scorpia in Netflix's Shira, Princess of Power. Put your hands together. I'm super excited she's back. The great Lauren Ash is here. How about that? Come on. Make some noise. Lauren Ash. Awesome. I'm excited. If you can't tell, I'm very excited. We're going to get started in just a moment. But before we do, I believe we have a peek at Season 4. So let's go ahead, run that clip.
Do you want me to get the harassment video?
Oh, no. The old videos don't apply anymore. We are living in a brave new Me Too, time's up, this is us kind of world. There are no rules anymore. But also, there's nothing but rules.
I'm just a regular documented immigrant that's sworn in by the president.
The president swore you in?
Uh-huh.
Which president?
One of the white ones. I want to say Henderson.
Nobody forced me to have sex with them.
But you might have felt like you couldn't say no because Amy was in the power positions.
Jonah was on top.
Does it matter who's on top?
It really doesn't.
It really does.
I like reverse cowgirl because there's no eye contact.
You don't have a gun?
What do I need a gun for?
Home security? Hunting? I mean, without guns, how are you going to properly start a drag race?
You don't think people in this store do marijuana, do you?
Like half.
Wait, half do or half don't?
It's both.
Both?
Why don't you go to a doctor?
We don't have the best health insurance.
I've had a cavity for over a year. I just put a little candle wax in there to hold me over until I win the lottery.
If you don't come in, they are not going to let me keep your job open.
Are you kidding me?
You were supposed to bring in donuts. A lot of people were really angry.
Morning.
Lock all the doors!
Game of Thrones Season 1 or Friends Season 9?
I feel like both those shows have way too many white people.
Yeah, I got to agree. I watch TV as an escape, not to see more white people.
Well, I can watch something with a little more diversity.
How about Empire?
Gonna start right in the deep end, huh?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, make some crazy noise. The great Lauren Ash is right here. Do it up. Oh, welcome back.
So happy to be here.
Oh my God, I'm so excited you're
Yeah.
here. Yes, so much fun to have you on this show.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes.
Congratulations, big time. This
Thank
is so
you.
awesome. Season 5 is official. You're a voice in an amazing animated show. There's so much for us to talk about. How are you? How is life right now? How's
Things
Lauren?
are great. Doing
Yeah?
well. Yeah, I just slammed a Red Bull back there. Sugar-free, guys. Don't worry. Just crushed it. And I'm feeling alive. You know what I mean?
That's the best
Not that,
way.
like heart flutter and like just a light sweat happening.
Just a little,
Do you know what I mean?
It's a glaze.
It's
Just
a
light
glaze. And that makes, yeah, it's like a dewiness, you know?
Exactly. Dewy is much more appealing and flattering than
This
glaze.
isn't going to work.
No, I don't know.
Don't want it.
I don't think you want
Didn't
to do
feel
that.
right, guys. Didn't feel right.
But I like you for trying it out. You're finding your space. It's a lower chair than last time.
But you know what? I like a lower chair. When I'm in a bar stool, I feel like it's just a recipe for falling in general.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
You're just going to fall at some point.
It's always going to happen.
Not the case here.
No.
And if you do, we have carpet. You'll be fine.
This is great.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
it's-
this isn't going to be a fatal fall.
No, not at
No.
all. We've set you up for maximum comfort. Upright or on the
God.
floor, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
We're
matter.
going to have a good conversation.
I love it.
You know what? We just said season 5 confirmed. How did you feel? How'd you take the news? How great must that have been to hear?
Listen, we had a table read, and so every time you have a new episode coming, the week before, you sit around and read it out loud so that the writers and everybody can hear it. And so as we're walking in for this table read, we start to see like all of the executives from NBC, and then like the new like heads of the network, and we're like, I think we're getting picked up again. Like, I think it's going to happen. And so they did it. They announced it. And we all, like, screamed and cheered. And then it was like, all right, now we get back to work.
You had a second to
it.
celebrate.
Yeah,
And then
but
right
listen,
back in.
We all love the show, and I've talked about this here. I've talked about this a million times. We genuinely all love each other. We're so close, and it's I mean, we've basically been celebrating ever since.
It's pretty amazing. Do you ever, now that you're entering fifth season, this to my knowledge, looking at your IMDb, this is 70 plus episodes, the longest time you've ever spent consistently with a character.
Yeah.
That's a unique experience. Not a lot of actors get to do that. You've been with her for a while now. Are there things, have you gone back and looked at like the early stuff and seen like new things that you've picked up that you've tweaked as you've found Dina, or has it been pretty consistent? What's your experience with examining that?
Well, you know what's interesting is in January, we went to San Francisco to the San Francisco Sketch Fest. The cast went, and instead of doing just a normal Q&A panel, we decided to read the pilot episode aloud, like a stage reading. Yeah, we thought it'd be the fun thing.
Very cool.
And it was interesting because on one hand, it was like, how far have we come? Yeah. But on the other hand, it was like, gosh, these characters were so well defined right from the beginning. Yeah. And the only things that have changed, obviously, is that Dina was, of course, still in love with Jonah at that time, which is a dynamic that I had kind of forgotten about because it's been so long. We have to remember that, I've kissed more main cast members on this show than anybody else. Let's just keep that in mind. Oh boy, it's a gift and a curse. But there's definitely little things. My main thing with Dina is that I never want her to seem like a sociopath. I never want her to seem two-dimensional. And so anytime I feel like we've been kind of getting into a run of episodes where we're seeing her eccentricities, I'm very lucky because they'll inevitably give me something that's real and connected and honest. So, she's still a weirdo, but she's, a real person with real emotions, which is nice.
Well, that's the thing, because I want to get into, when you were last year, we just found out that Dina was going to carry Glenn's baby, right? So we've now gone through that whole cycle, but there was an amazing line you had recently where you compared Rose to like a shirt that you've donated to the Salvation Army.
Yes, yeah.
And so like that brought to mind of like balancing on that line of like an honest, confident person and an absolute crazy person, like straddling that line. How does that conversation take place? Have they ever brought something to you and you were like, guys, I don't know, I think we have to straddle this back? Or is it mostly them just kind of shepherding Dina down this path and you going for the ride? Like,
it's interesting because they let us improvise a lot on this show. Yeah. So it feels very collaborative in general. For the most part, I feel like there's also specific writers that write to like specific people very well. So I feel like for the most part, they really do get the voices of all of us. There'll be the odd time where it's like, guys, there's been a couple times. Actually, there was one recently where I can't even remember what it was, but it was something that was just so mean. And I was like, I can't, and it's very rare that I ever say like, no to something or whatever. Like, it's just not how I'm wired, especially as an improviser. Yes, and. But there was one thing where I was like, I think this is just too mean. And then we talked about it more, and I was like, I'll do it in the rehearsal and let's see what we think. And then they were like, yeah, it'll do mean. So it's definitely always kind of like that balance. But it's certainly like at the end of the birthing episode where she asked to have a moment alone with baby Rose, which is very sweet. But then also is like, no, I don't want to hold her. You can put her in her bin, which was an improvised line by me that I think is tooting my own horn about my own joke. But there you go. But
you have to be your own cheerleader, a firm advocate of
Nobody
that.
else will be.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Not in this day and age.
It's like on an airplane. You put your own mask on before you help somebody else.
Like an
okay?
airplane,
It's exactly like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like that's a great example of like never letting it get maudlin or saccharine, but also like letting it see that it's like she did just carry this baby in her body for 9-10 months because she was so overdue. Seeing that she has like some semblance of feeling is nice.
And that's the fun part of watching you play Dina, is like waiting for how that little semblance is going to manifest and how it's going to come through. Yeah. That's what makes the characters such a crowd favorite, is the excitement that comes with watching her. She's not just hilarious, but it's refreshing. It's a little different than something we've seen before. Do you miss pregnant Dina?
No. When I started, keep in mind, I felt like I was pregnant for 7 years because I was pregnant for half of season 3 into season 4. And the thing that happened was the belly had gotten so big by the end of season 3 that I was like, it has to be bigger, guys, because there's been a time leap. So then all of a sudden it became just this like almost comical house on my body. People often ask if it's heavy. It's not heavy, it's foam, but what it is extremely hot. And I run warm in general. I'm Canadian. Like I got here and people were like, is it cold for you? And I'm like, this feels like spring. It was like 40 degrees and I was like, I couldn't be happier. So yeah, that was the main thing for me was that it was just very, very warm and cumbersome. At first it was nice because you would like, don't have to worry about bloat because you've got a giant pad belly. I was like, I can eat as much as I want at this lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, they give us too much food on this show.
Do they?
Any show, I think, in general in Hollywood, but we're constantly being fed. You show up, there's hot breakfast made to order. 3 hours later, hot snack. We're talking a full buffet.
Hot snack?
Hot snack.
What's a hot snack?
Thai food, Chinese food.
Soft pretzel, perhaps?
We've had soft pretzels.
All right, that's a hot
There was
snack.
like 8 kinds of sausages, hot dogs, soft pretzels. Then 3 hours later, lunch. Then 3 hours after that, I was like, you couldn't, like, it's amazing that I'm not on my 600-pound life at this point. Like, honestly.
Do they ever do hot snack, cold lunch, or do they try to maintain the temperature?
There's always something hot. Honestly, there's always something hot. They want to make sure that we're kept warm.
Sternos aren't going to light themselves. We need hot food in here.
We need hot food.
All right, that's
Yeah.
great. Luxurious.
Too much.
It's too much.
Too much.
I'm sure if you
But
didn't
yeah,
have
the belly
it, you'd want it.
was nice because I was like, I don't got to worry about anything. You know what I mean?
Did you ever
I
fill the
look
belly
great.
with food, take it home?
You know what? I should have started doing that, or put a zipper in there so I could have snacked in between. You know, it's like shame eating.
There's a lot of hurry up and wait on a set. You're
lot of
hanging
hurry up and
around,
wait.
you're waiting for them
Yeah.
to gotta reset lights, reset this and that.
You get good at napping anywhere.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah. I could never do that before, and now it's like, how much time do I have? 15 minutes? I'll see you in 14. And literally, it's like, just out immediately.
It's amazing. Do you have a spot on the set that you go to do your nap, or is it right there? That's the
I
whole
do it in my trailer.
Yeah.
The little weird couch pulls out.
Yeah.
And then I just get under a blanket.
curl up.
And, yeah.
power nap.
Power. Let's slam it like I slammed that Red Bull. You know what I mean?
I think we need to work on your time management. You are slamming way too many things.
I slam everything, dude. And it's a life of extremes. Yeah, it's too much.
We slammed 15 minutes of content to 7 just now. We were
Exactly.
slamming a lot of things. I'm concerned.
I slammed to walk around the MoMA. You know what I mean?
handle
I'm
it both
seeing art.
ends.
I'm seeing art. I'm done. You know?
the best way to do it.
It's a beautiful thing.
Weird train of thought, but I wanted to say happy belated birthday to your mom.
Oh,
Here's how I
thank
got
you.
there. You were here. You told us about being pregnant last time. I believe you told us a story of pranking your mom when you were
Yes.
pregnant. And I just saw a whole thing, a beautiful thing on Twitter that it was your mom's birthday like a couple of days
March
ago.
30th,
Yeah,
yes,
so,
it was.
So happy birthday
Happy
to her.
birthday, Laurel. She named me Lauren. Think about that for a second. Laurel, Laurel. Lauren, Lauren. Okay? This is and then I called her on it as I became older and was like, what was that rationale? And she said, I really wanted to name you Laurel Jr., but then decided against it at the last minute. And I was like, yeah, that's psychotic. This is the same woman who would dress us in. She's a wonderful seamstress. Like she's amazing. She would dress us in matching clothes. Like she denies this, but there was a dress when I was 10.
What was
we wore it to the mall. It was awful.
You and your mom were in matching clothes.
Correct. She was a single mom and I'm an only child. So it was very much like the Gilmore Girls, but if they like lived in like a very small basement apartment and didn't have a lot of money. Yeah, that was
There's
us.
that spin-off. I want to see that.
Don't tell her. She'll be like, that kind gentleman had an idea for a show for us to do together. She'll love it. She's watching this right now. I'm
Watching
sure.
right now. She's making the costume. She's getting the pitch ready.
100%.
Get in
She's
the
already
elevator.
cast like 3 other people. Ben Feldman is on hold.
He's executive
He
producing. I
hopes
believe.
that he can get the part, but who knows? They may go with BJ Novak.
That is, yeah, I know. You could either one. Either way, it's a win for you guys in that show. I'm going to tell you
Totally.
right now.
Very
Yeah, either one.
talented.
You're going to be at home. I got to talk to you about. Although I could do this whole your mom bit dressing you guys the same. I could do that for another 15 minutes. But
me both.
I could not let this this moment escape without discussing Dina's birds.
I know.
Oh my goodness. What a bittersweet moment for a Superstore fan.
We're a Superstore fan who also like we've teased this for 4 years. And then I was like, finally, it's happening. Also, they're gone. Like, it was like, what? Gone. I had some people reach out to me on Twitter, and my heart broke because there was one woman who was like, as a bird owner, this is depicted our greatest fear. Please tell me they come back. And I was like, oh, man, like, we're breaking hearts and taking names. Yeah.
How much of that shoot was you just improvising bird calls in the parking lot?
Fair amount. That was, we spent some time on that one for sure. Also, in the past, I've always improvised bird names, but then this one, we had to coordinate to all the missing posters that she had made. Yeah, so I was like, I can't improvise the names, because that's always fun to like see what comes out.
Yeah, just whatever you make up in the moment.
Molasses, Syracuse, it could be anything.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even think of that. Oh, that's so funny. And then also being directed by, as a Canadian comedian, this is. I mean, being directed by McKinney here. That's almost
Sweet Mark McKinney.
That's got to be like the akin to like being knighted or something. When you get directed as a comedian from Canada, directed by Mark McKinney, you're like a dame. You're a Canadian dame now.
I think I am.
I think that's how it works
I
legally.
think I'm Canada's Dane Edna.
Yeah, exactly.
Dame Edna, no? It was. Remember Dame Edna?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel like that could exist now.
I don't think it could.
No.
It was a flawed concept.
It was
at the
but
time.
hey, at the time,
At
adorable.
Absolutely.
Mark McKinney is he's Canadian comedy royalty. I mean, he's comedy royalty anywhere, truthfully.
Yeah.
But it was like such a delight to be directed by him because Mark is also like super silly and goofy on set. As an actor, but then like he walked in and he was wearing like a very sensible jacket and like a scarf and like a very nice like a Blundstone shoe, like a sensible man boot, and I was like, you look like a director. I never see you like this. Normally you're in like sandals and shorts. You're getting your hair done.
Was that Mark being like silly and like this is what a director dresses like, or was
I
he?
think he was like.
Or was it adorable and he was like really in director mode?
I think he was in director mode.
Oh,
he was awesome.
I love
he's so great, and you know what?
Oh, he
he's
did a
like
great job,
he's been around the block a million times. He's done every job in this industry. He's directed. He's been a showrunner, actor. All of the above. Writer, obviously. So it was so fun, and he was also like so concerned about the scene where I had to run after the birds. And I kept bragging about how I've been working out with a personal trainer. That's Nico and I's bit. We're always just like, I hope we don't shoot too late tonight because I'm meeting with my personal trainer. Feels like everybody talks about it that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I hate it. It's awful. It's hell for 90 minutes, so I'm going to brag about it. But anyway, so I was like, listen, Mark, I'll be fine. And he was like, we're not going to do that many takes. And I'm like, I've never had a director be more concerned about my comfort level running than sweet Mark McKinney.
Did anything happen that you can think about of the past 4 years that he would have witnessed that would give him reason to be concerned about you running for more than 2 or 3 times?
No, but I for some reason on this show, and I challenge anybody to go back through the episodes, if there's something crazy like hanging from a helicopter, being strapped to the ceiling for a Christmas card shoot.
Oh, that was amazing.
Doing an army crawl across a linoleum floor that I have permanent scars from. If there's anything like that, it's always me. So I think it was more that it was just like, oh, poor Ash is once again, like, it has to sprint for like, because, you get a lot of coverage. We were in that scene for 2 hours of running. Also, there was times where they asked me to slow down because I was too fast, so it's no big deal. But anyway, because I have a personal trainer. She's training me personally. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think it's just because it's been such a running bit. I mean, it was the Olympics episode between season 1 and 2. Yeah. I was hanging from a helicopter at the end, and they literally had me hanging from a rope ladder. And they had a stunt woman do it first, and she's like, just hold like this. And then I tried it, and I was like, she's holding all of her body weight on one, and I was like,
it's a lot harder than it looks.
It's a lot harder than it looks. I'm like, she's also like 130 pounds of like raw muscle. And so then I was like, guys, you're gonna have to like strap me to this ladder or something. But consequently, my leg was wrapped around it.
Got it.
And my inner thigh, the bruise was like this. It was black. Just because it was like you're holding on. And again, even if you're displacing your weight, it's still. So again, I think he was just like, we don't want her to hurt herself.
We're not gonna hurt
she
you.
always gets asked to do the crazy things. Yeah,
really sweet.
Bless him.
I have to ask you about this other gig that you're doing right now, which is so freaking cool. You are Scorpia on Shira. We've got a picture of your character right here.
Yes.
I mean, no bruises necessary. Much more cushy gig when you think about you're not hanging from a helicopter to do this.
I show up in my pajamas.
That is
the truth.
it. This is the dream.
Yeah.
How'd you get involved with Shira? This is so freaking cool that you're a part of this show.
Listen, without exaggeration, Shira was my favorite cartoon as a little kid. Like, it honestly was. I had all the dolls. I watched it every single day. When I booked this, I called my mom and I was like, I booked a role on Shira. And she was like, that's your favorite one. Like, it was like so exciting. I auditioned for it. There was like a thing that came out and it was like, they're looking for, I think Scorpia. And I think that there was somebody that maybe had mentioned me to my agents or something, or casting. I don't know. Anyway, I literally went into my closet in my house. I put my duvet over my head with my iPhone. That's like the glamorous life of like being an actor auditioning for voice gigs. Is literally you're just like huddled like a homeless, like under a blanket with your phone. And I recorded it and booked it. They were like, yeah, let's do it.
It's so freaking
It's so amazing. And you know what? They've been like super cool too. At first I was like, I don't know how much I can improvise. I don't want to step on toes. It's a cartoon show. And so I kind of started to throw some in, and they were like, we love it. Do as much as you want. So it was so cool. And they've used a bunch of it, which is like always just like such an amazing thing to feel like you're like, you know, creatively being, you know, collaborating and all those kinds of things.
You're a part of the process in a bigger way than just showing up.
And I think also the show, it's obviously it's a real reimagining of the original series, but in the best way. Like it's such a, I didn't realize until I saw it, quite honestly, I didn't realize how much I wanted to see body diversity in an animated show. I feel like we come from a generation where, like the original Shira, bless it, was like one female body and they would just change the head for each character. You know what I mean? It's like everybody looked the same. And this, no two characters are drawn alike. Everybody's drawn differently. Everybody's like different sizes, ethnicities. And I remember watching the first episode of this and going like, this is a really cool thing to be a part of. You know, something that's like little kids are going to watch now and see like, you know, a more accurate representation of what the world actually looks like, which is a cool thing.
It's a very cool thing to be a part of. You got to go, I think it was very recently, you were at WonderCon with the cast, right?
Yeah.
You guys did a panel, and that's got to be a wild experience. Have you ever been a part of anything like that before where you have that, like fans, where is anybody dressed up as characters from the show and things of that nature?
We've had people cosplay as Superstore characters quite a bit. Yeah.
There's
even
Superstore?
from season 1. Yeah, we've had a lot of Superstore cosplay. People will, one girl actually wrote me on social media and she's like, and this was like some other con, I can't remember which one, but she's like, in the daytime, I'm going as work Dina, and at nighttime, I'm going as cop Dina. Halloween costume cop Dina, and I was like, that's amazing. So there's been people, and even when we went to San Francisco, people showed up. A lot of people showed up dressed up. We had Sandra's, we had Dina's, we had like all just regular store employees, which was cool. But what I will say is that the difference is the Shira cosplay is unbelievable. The amount of work, like how do they make the big claws? Like I think they use the 3D printers I've heard of or something. I don't know, but like these people are true artists. Like I can't even imagine how you would begin to put together like something that looks so accurate. Also, like from what materials? Where did you source that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, how do you even begin?
The cosplay game has gotten so insane in recent years, and the stuff that people are able to manufacture and create, they do look like almost, even when they're making their favorite movie, it's as if they're almost better than the movie. Like, they put so much attention to detail into it. It's pretty nuts, which is why I was curious, like, if you'd seen, like, anyone with claws and stuff like that.
No, we've seen a bunch. There was a bunch of Scorpias that day. People always tag me, which is great, on social media from all the different cons, and you get to see them, which is really amazing. I will also say, I've been very lucky that I've been involved in things that people have really loved and really reached out for, but never have I experienced the level of like rabidity in fandom as we immediately got with Shira. Like there was, I was saying before, people online are terrible. People can be terrible. And people have said things to me about my looks or my body or whatever, and it just rolls off my shoulders because it's like, whatever, you know. I got, in all of this, I've had one mean tweet regarding Scorpia, and it was like, this chubby Scorpia is not my Scorpia. And I was like, oh, like if for some reason I was like, it's a drawing. It's not even, I'm like, they say something in my own body. I'm like, whatever. But with Scorpio, I was like, I just took it so personally. I was like, that's so mean and hurtful. I mean, she's so awesome. But anyway, I was about to block this guy on Twitter. And I said to myself, I was like, give it a minute. Yeah. And within about 60 seconds, thousands of the fans just dragged this guy. And I was like, this is awesome. Yeah. It's so good.
I don't know if that's the ultimate solution to online bullying, which is just wait for the internet to punish them.
Yes,
but
exactly.
it sure as hell is gratifying when it happens.
It was nice for me.
And also, what the hell is he talking about, chubby? I don't know where he's getting that from.
She's a warrior. This is
for
the
crying
other
out
thing.
loud.
I'm like, just because she's like almost 7 feet tall and built like, you know, a wrestler, like she's a warrior. She's also like the kindest, most loyal character on the show.
Crazy. Oh, the internet's awful.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, speaking of the internet being awful, we got a question from the internet.
I'm sure these ones are lovely.
I'm sure Mimi is not a part of the awful internet. She seems really nice.
She has Meow in her name. She's
exactly.
gonna be a good person.
Meow 89. I'm assuming that's a birthday. I'm an 85 kid. I don't know why I just shared that, but now you know it. Now we know and we can't unknow it.
The more you know.
That's it. Yeah, the little rainbow star.
Thank you very much.
At Mimi Meow 89 writes, hi, Lauren. I'm sorry. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
What is something about the character Dina that you know that we don't know?
Well, listen, that's hard because there's lots of things I've made up about Deena that I believe to be true that are not at all part of the canon of the show. They are not. There's just my own stories. For example, I believe that Deena is ex-military, that she tried to get in the military and something went wrong. I don't know what, physically or what, and she didn't get in there. That's something that I've been trying to get in. Something else I've been trying to get in is that Amy and Deena went to high school together.
I know, you told me about
We've been, yes, again, it's been a year and I'm still campaigning. It has not happened yet, but maybe it will. In terms of I don't know about anything that's actual canon that's been created that you guys wouldn't know. We kind of put it all out there in the show. But I think that definitely, the military connection is something to me that makes sense for her. I think it's an interesting choice and a funny choice, but also, just the way she's wired, she's loyal, she follows the rules, and also that, she treats it like it's almost that level of job. So that would be my tidbit I would give you, even though it only technically exists in here.
It's a great tidbit.
Yeah.
For all the little tidbits that you do have, part of the Birds episode, as sad as it was to see that happen, we were given a look inside Dina's apartment. You did it to her on Twitter, I think. Or
yes.
Insta. And when you walked into that room and you saw the apartment for the first time, that's got to be a weird thing. You have all these little bits of information in your head exclusively about Deena. What did it feel like to see this character sort of exploded into this space for the first time and see her habitat?
Our art department and set decoration squads are truly mind-boggling. The attention to detail in everything, and that's why I really wanted to do that tour because I was when you see it on the show, it's quick and you can see there's stuff on the walls, but you can't necessarily see it. They make everything plaques that are specifically made out. There was on the little girl rifle that was on my gun rack. There's literally a little tiny engraved plaque that's Deena Fox, winner, under 10 division or something, skeet shooting. There was some it's just so awesome. I walked in and I was just yeah, you guys nailed it. This is exactly how I would picture it. There's bird stuff everywhere. Again, the gun rack over the couch. I also love that she has an RBG picture on the wall. And somebody on Twitter was saying something about well, she's anti-gun, and I'm but Deena still would love part of her politics. She doesn't have to agree with everything that she believes in. It just makes complete sense to me that she'd be don't agree on everything, but she's a good lady. She's upholding the law, and I like what she stands for. You know what I mean? But there's also a Janet Reno up there, which I thought was amazing. I mean, it just feels right. Oh, good. Yeah.
Awesome. Kate, what do we have? We have one more question. We're going to do one more. It's going to be right over here. Go for it.
Hey, Lauren.
Hi.
I recently checked out this other animated show you did that's from Canada online. It's called The Dating Guy.
The Dating Guy.
Yeah, about that. Your character has some similarities to your character in Superstore. Why can't there ever be an episode where they get their comeuppance?
Where this character gets their comeuppance?
No, the one on Dating Guy, actually.
Oh, the one on Dating Guy?
Yeah.
Great question. We recorded that so long ago now, and that was my first real animated job. So it was really cool to do because I hadn't really done anything like that before. But yeah, I feel like the characters on that show, they remind me a little bit like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, if that makes any sense. It's they kind of are not great people. They're not terrible people, but they're not also super great people. And so it was, I can see, because I always think that about It's Always Sunny too, where it's when are these guys gonna when is there gonna be real consequences? But I feel like they never end up actually having that happen. So unfortunately, I don't think we ever really see her get her comeuppance. The show was canceled way too soon. We should bring it back. We need to do a crossover. We need to see Superstore animated in that show, and then Deena and Sam could meet, and who knows what would happen. They would probably take over the world.
I think that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah.
We thank you for your question.
Thank you, though. I love that. I love that you've seen that show.
And thank you, Mimi, for it was Mimi, wasn't it?
Mimi Meow 89.
That's right, Mimi Meow. Good memory.
Thank you.
For that question as well. As always, an absolute pleasure having you here, Lauren. Oh my God, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
I want to remind everybody out there that Superstore is new tonight. So check it out. And if you haven't caught up, go on to Hulu. You can catch up with the entire series. And if you've never seen it, you absolutely need to do that right now. Go watch this whole show. It is so funny. You are so funny.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody join me in making a ridiculous amount of noise for the great
guys.
Lauren Ash.
Thank you.